It was a bare knuckle heavyweight title bout, but Auburn comes up with the W, baby.
Johnson goes to deny, step back, big play.
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go, the tip by Broome. Up ahead, Harper.
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. How we doing, Josh?
Seen better days, but this past on Saturday it was nice. But I think I had about 3 heart attacks Saturday night.
Yeah. Hey, a win is a win is a win. But it was an unbelievable game. But before we get into that, we have some exciting news. We are now partnered with fanatics.com. So if you find yourself looking for some new Auburn gear, you're looking to get some basketball gear for this upcoming season, and this ongoing season and the upcoming March Madness that is going to be happening, use our affiliate link below. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're super excited about this. It'll help us out a little bit if you do use that affiliate link. Other than that, Josh, let's jump right into this episode. Let's talk about the Tennessee game. It was an unbelievable game. I had very high hopes for the game heading in, but all of a sudden it just became, you could from the go on ESPN News because the Kansas and Houston game went into overtime. I hate the way ESPN does this sometimes. But
speaking of ESPN News real quick, during the game, because obviously right before the end of the first half, it was on ESPN News. When it switched to ESPN, did you notice like a downgrade in the video quality?
No,
because on my YouTube TV, it went from 1080 on ESPN News, and then 480 was the highest I could select on ESPN. It was terrible. Like even on the highlights on YouTube, regular YouTube, it does the same exact thing.
Yeah, no, it was crystal clear for me. Maybe I would have preferred the game in 480. Or 420 or whatever it was, because it was ugly, dude. It wasn't your resolution. The game was ugly. 20-22 at halftime. 20-22 at halftime. Nobody could hit anything. It was, the refs were in the first half were letting them play. They had some really weird calls. We'll get more into the refs later on, so I hate that I brought it up. But nobody could get any shooting going. Both teams were playing some really good lockdown defense. Tennessee's defense on the man, on ball, was spectacular. I mean, Denver Jones had 4 turnovers, if I remember correctly. When was the last time Denver Jones had 4 turnovers, Josh?
It's been quite a damn while, that's for sure.
Yeah. It was one of those things to where I did not believe what I saw, because it was that kind of game. I mean, we were watching, it felt like a football game. They kept making reference to it, but it felt like a football game, especially at halftime, 22-20. And Johni Broome had the only 3-point shot in the game up to that point.
It was a big one, though. It is what we needed.
It was a weird game because Dylan Cardwell had made both of his free throws to start the scoring for the game, which, I mean, how big were all 4 of his free throws? Because he made them all. It was just unbelievable.
You want to talk about big free throws? How big were all 7 of Chad Baker's 7 free throws? That's all the points he scored.
Yeah. Hey, no, kudos to Chad. There were moments in that game where we needed his scoring. And it didn't always come, but hey, it worked out in the beginning.
Yeah, it really did. You know, this damn game, you know, you have a dream and you get in a fight with somebody and you feel like you're punching somebody underwater. That's what this game felt like slow motion punches, couldn't gain ground on anybody. It's just, when are we going to see some haymakers? And we never saw them other than Miles Kelly putting the dagger in them.
Yeah, Miles Kelly hit the dagger and the haymaker, but there were haymakers being thrown everywhere. I don't know what you were watching. It was just a brawl. I mean, on the defensive end, there were so many bodies hitting the floor that I could have sworn it was a mosh pit at a concert or a street fight. It was that kind of game. I have never seen a game where the refs were just letting it play. And I didn't agree with some of the calls that they did make, but in the first half, it was just, I mean, they were putting bodies on each other and were letting them go to town.
Yeah, I don't know what flipped in the second half. Obviously, we weren't happy with the refs. I thought
happened.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I didn't. I can't remember. It may have been on Discord in Warbloggle's Discord, or it was to you. I can't sometimes forget, but go ahead.
I mean, either way, the refs were bad on both ends of the aisle. It wasn't a pretty game for any of the refs. It was just, that towards the end of the game where Johni Broome got blocked, it led to a Tennessee 3. The dude, Akbara, the dude that blocked Johni Broome, the 3 times he jumped in the air to block Johni's shot or swat at it, he was pushing off of Johni's back and shoulders the entire time, and it wasn't called. It's like, it's right in front of you, ref. This is ridiculous. Call the foul. And then Johni Broome gets away with a hold on a Tennessee inbound play.
Yep.
So like I said, the refs were just missing and just being blind to so many things. It was a terribly officiated game from both spectrums.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And we'll get more to the refs here in a minute, but let's continue on the Johni Broome thing. Johni Broome releases a statement or talks about on social media that I think it was on Instagram that he decided that morning that no matter what, he was going to play in this game because of the prank that Tennessee fans played on him in his car. They put 2 pieces of paper with T's on his windshield, which, I mean, it's not that bad. And then they did a T in the grass in front of his car. So it wasn't even like this crazy prank that went too far.
Yeah,
but
Johni Broome
was like, I don't freaking care. I am taking it to him. And Bruce Pearl thought, heading into this game, it was going to be, 20 minutes or so he was going to get Johni in there, but it quickly turned into one of those things where you knew that we needed all of Johni and we needed every bit that he could give us, and he clearly was not 100%. He did not have the same bounce. He wasn't running up and down the court like he always does. He was kind of walking up the court, but what he did give us is the only reason why we won this game. It was because of Johni Broome. He was clearly the best player on that court last night.
For both teams. And the fact that we got this with 65 or 70% Johni Broome, it speaks volumes, because the whole game, I'm texting my buddies, I'm texting you guys, Tennessee's defense is for real. They are freaking great, and they are not going to be an easy out in the SEC tournament or March Madness. They're a very good basketball team, and
we won that game.
Broome,
go ahead.
The fact that Johni Broome went out there and scored a double-double or triple-double, depending on who you speak to, it speaks volumes to the talent level of Johni Broome.
Who was out there saying he got a triple-double?
Bruce Pearl. He got 16 points, 13 rebounds, and missed 12 shots.
Yeah. 12 shots. You don't see that from Johni Broome a lot. It's usually like 1 or 2 shots he misses. But everybody was missing shots. But, I mean, Johni Broome defensively had 4 blocks, and we needed all 4 of them. And he changed the perplexion of the game. And now, hey, unfortunately to Tennessee fans, unfortunately to Tennessee, they didn't do what the commentators told them to do, which was they should have continued to run the pick and roll and get the switch on Johni Broome with why can't I remember his name all of a sudden? Oh my gosh,
Akbara.
No,
Oh,
Ziegler. It was working in the second half, but they just never kept going back to it. In the very end, they kept going to it, but they weren't doing it when it mattered most, I don't think.
That's what they should have done to tie the game instead of going for the win. I mean, Auburn was Tennessee was 4 of 22 from 3. Auburn was 3 for 20. The 3 ball is not falling for either side. But they, like you said, they were able to get Johni Broome down low because Johni Broome just didn't have the get up and the lightning quick reflexes we're used to seeing, and so they're able to get by him. That's exactly what they should have done, and I'm so glad they didn't.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm glad they did it, but it just like we won 3 games without Johni Broome, and it showed the rest of the country why we're the number 1 team in the country. But when you go and look at this team and how good they are a top 10 team. Let's just be honest. A top 10 team without Johni Broome. They are clearly above and beyond the number 1 team in the country when Johni Broome is playing, even if he's not at 100%.
It was very apparent this past Saturday.
Yeah, if this is a lesser opponent, Auburn runs away with this, even with our shooting. Just the way that the defense was playing. So
I don't know, because
Auburn's offense was. What I'm saying is we weren't going to run into a defensive team like Tennessee was. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Nobody else is like Tennessee on the defensive end, and so we would have run away with it. But kudos to Tennessee with the way that they play defense. Like you said, they are a great defensive team, and it is going to be very hard. We talked about it either last week or in a text. I am sick and tired of Ziegler or Ziegler, whatever his name is. He showed up in the big moments, and he missed that last shot. But at no point in the game did you think he wasn't the best player on Tennessee's team. And he put on 25 pounds. Did you see that segment that they did with their physical trainer? Their physical trainer, we'll go on a quick tangent here, but their physical trainer transformed 3 of their players. They all put on 10 or more pounds, increased their vertical by 3 or 4 inches. Ziegler put on 25 pounds and increased his vertical by 4 inches.
That's
because of the program that this trainer had implemented. That is insane. It just shows you what kind of worker he is and why he is one of the best players in the SEC, bar none.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Moving right along, let's talk more about the refs, because this is 2 weeks in a row that the refs are just too much of a part of the game. I seriously was sick and tired of Pat Adams in the Georgia game, and I thought, thank goodness we're not going to get Pat Adams in this game. But you know what? We did get a team of refs that in the first half were letting everything fly, and the things that they were calling were so super inconsistent. It felt like that they were on Tennessee's payroll in the beginning of the game, which I'm sure every fan base thinks this, but either way.
I know Tennessee fans think that way about the refs in this game. They think that Auburn got the calls compared to Tennessee.
Are you kidding me?
Both teams got screwed. Let's just be completely
that's when
honest.
you know the refs are that bad.
Yeah, right. Both teams are calling for their heads. It was a poorly officiated game.
Yeah. But the thing that I was super frustrated about in this was in the second half, they were calling, if you just had a hand on somebody, if you just touched somebody, they were going to call it. And it was clear that that was going to be the way it happened out from the get-go. And what I texted was they're doing this because the first half was so bad offensively that they were like, hey, we need to get some scoring. The only way to do this and to lower the intensity on defense is to just call everything. And, I mean, sure enough, it worked. I mean, they went over the point total in the first half, but they were calling every little tiny thing. Players were pushing off of players. They weren't getting called. So it was just inconsistent.
There's only 9 more points scored in the second half than there was in the first half.
Okay. It felt a lot more. Is that 9 per team, though? It's 9
no,
per
total. Team. It was 9 more than Auburn scored. So both teams scored 31 in the second half. Auburn scored 22 in the first half. Tennessee
Okay.
scored 20.
Okay. Well, either way, it was an absolutely terrible officiating game. And the biggest thing that bothered me, the biggest thing was when Johni didn't get called for the hold. Because it was clearly a hold. It was clearly
Yes.
a foul. Okay. Especially the way they were calling the game. But
The commentators.
Rick Barnes. No, Rick Barnes throwing
coach.
his water down right in front of the ref on the court, and then them having to take time to clean up that water. How is that not a technical? When you got
how is that not a
Broome
tech?
3 or 4 games ago talking to the ref as he gets smacked in the face, and he's telling the ref that he missed something, and he gets teed up for that. How is Rick Barnes throwing water on the court?
And then we have Stephen Pearl getting a tech called on him for yelling at Chad Baker-Mazara. Not even at the ref.
Oh my gosh.
It's just they're so freaking inconsistent. It's blowing my mind how bad the SEC refs are. Like the whole league is talking about how bad the SEC refs are, not just the fans of SEC teams.
Yeah. No, the entire country, because so many people are watching SEC games, because the conference itself is so good that everyone is watching, and they're like, wow, you guys have been dealing with this your whole life? Yes, we have. We have Pat Adams that we have to deal with, and then this joke of a referee squad. It is becoming a problem. They just are. We talked about it in the Duke game. I said there were some fouls being called against Auburn, and I said, well, that's Duke because who they are.
It's due to home cooking is what you said.
Yeah, and because they're Duke. And I thought that we would get some
You were so wrong, dude.
Being the number one team in the country and having the best player in the country, I figured that we would get some of the. It hasn't seemed that way. It's been very inconsistent. And I think most fan bases want consistency above everything else. And it's just not happening.
Yes. It's really not, and it's becoming a problem. I really wish there was some system implemented that was holding these refs accountable, like a fining system or whatever, like they have in the NFL for players that run their mouths about refs.
Yep.
There should be a system where these refs, like if there's going to be games this season that are going to cost other teams games because these refs are making every single match about themselves instead of the teams playing on the court. It's sickening. I can't stand.
It's what made last night's game so difficult to watch if you weren't a fan of both teams.
It's true. I honestly wasn't even. I don't even care. You know me. I love defense for football and basketball. I don't even care about the low scoring game. What I cared about was the game being held up by these bullshit calls that the refs were calling. Yeah. Just let them play ball. If they miss the shots, they miss the damn shots. It's 2 top 10 teams. Arguably 2 top 5 teams when it's all said and done going at it. Tennessee and Auburn both have incredible friggin' defenses. Just stop making it about yourselves and let these friggin' kids play ball.
A perfect example of what this game should have been like is the Houston game. Because Houston is an unbelievable defensive team, but yet both teams were able to score. And it was because the refs didn't make it about themselves. I don't remember that game being one of those games where I'm yelling at the screen because of the refs.
I don't believe it was.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It
wasn't.
I mean, Houston shot 22 free throws, Auburn shot 19. So there was still quite a bit of fouling in that game, but
it's
didn't seem that way. Yes.
It's consistency. Okay. And there wasn't a ton of reviews either way. Now, I have here on the to-do list the Jahki Howard situation. Are you familiar with what happened in the second half of the game?
He missed the closeout on a big 3-point made by Tennessee. Yep. Bruce Pearl ripped into him, then was kicked off the bench and walked into the locker room with 2 assistant coaches.
Because he yelled back at Bruce. He obviously said something that Bruce didn't like.
He definitely did clap back, and you're not going to be able to play any more minutes if you're going to disrespect the coach that way. But, Bruce Pearl did say that he had a conversation with Jahki, then had another conversation with Jahki, but all in all, Jahki is going to be okay. And Jahki did tweet something out during halftime.
At halftime. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
so it was a thinking emoji and the praying hands. So I don't know if that's him thinking about going to the transfer portal or him saying that he's lucky to have a coach like Bruce Pearl that's going to challenge him in these ways. But Jahki is going to have to learn that things aren't just about him anymore. This is a team sport, and Auburn is always going to come before you as an individual player. And hopefully this is just a huge learning moment for Jahki, because we all know what he's capable of. He's incredibly talented. I want nothing but the best for him. But if he's gonna, he's already delayed Auburn's plane because he couldn't keep his mouth shut, and him and Jaheim Hudson. And so, I mean, if he's going to keep causing distractions like this, and now it's affecting the team mid-game, if he's going to keep doing that, then he's not going to have a roster spot. He's just not.
Yeah. And we've talked about this before because we've seen some of his I don't want to call it selfishness. I don't want to call it attitude problem. His character or his personality, because I think that he is just a passionate player and a passionate person. We've talked about this before, and the fact that he seems like he is sometimes not okay with the way that Bruce Pearl coaches. And it's well documented the way that Bruce Pearl coaches, and that he is going to be hard on his players and expect excellence from them, and is going to yell at them from time to time. He's going to be a tough coach. But at the same time, you're going to see situations like you saw last night when Denver Jones threw the ball over to Howard. No, not Howard. Who was it? Darn it, Chaney Johnson. He threw the ball over to Chaney Johnson. Chaney Johnson was already looking at Bruce, getting some instruction, and so the ball went out of bounds. And you had Denver Jones really beating himself up, and Bruce Pearl was like, "It's okay. It's okay."
Yeah, you
it's
saw
not a
that.
problem.
It's okay.
And Denver Jones clearly was beating himself up because this type of game became down to,
who had the ball last,
a handful of possessions. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but you're going to get both sides from Bruce. He cares about you as a person. He cares about you as a player, but he's going to coach you hard when it's needed. And Jahki Howard definitely needs it. Now, it does seem like he is the odd man out, or at least on the outside looking in. Again, we don't have any inside information outside of maybe some conversations you have with Chad Baker-Mazara. But on the outside looking in, it does look like he is, quote unquote, the problem child in this group. He's the one that wants more minutes. He wants more shots, whereas the rest of the team is happy to just, do their part. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you need some players like Jahki. I wish it wasn't affecting the team as much as it is right now. And I don't think it's affecting other players. I think it's just affecting the fact that we could have used his minutes later in the game, because offensively, he is a monster offensively, and we could have used some offense. And I'm sure he could have hit a big three at some point. But this is the second time that we've now had to restrict his minutes because of his personality, if you will.
I mean, he's a kid, but so is Todd Pettiford, and one is clearly more mentally mature than the other. I'm not calling Jahki Howard mentally immature.
It definitely seems that way, though.
It does
Not
seem that
you,
way.
But yeah.
Seems like he has the me, pick me mentality and the 5-star, privilege that a lot of players tend to have when they're highly rated out of high school.
Like a certain player that we had last year.
Who are you talking about?
I am talking about Aiden Holloway.
Oh yeah, what a bitch. Anyways,
who unfortunately had a good game Saturday.
He did.
As well.
He's actually been playing really good in conference play. It's actually kind of insane. But we'll see how long it lasts.
I'm just like, come on, man.
Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts. We all know this game. But when it comes to Bruce Pearl and coaching his players, we all know that Bruce Pearl's not going to pick on you just to pick on you.
No.
He's going to pick on you whenever you have something to be picked on about. And that was a big thing for Jahki Howard to be picked on about was not defending his guy on that open three. And so I really, 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 truly hope Jahki Howard is going to take this as a teachable moment moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. I want him to understand that Bruce, he doesn't care how many shots you take as long as you're giving it 120% on defense. And there are definitely times where Jahki Howard looks like he might be taking a breather on defense. It doesn't happen all the time. It just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the moments on a player that you cannot take a break on, because he will kill you every step of the way. And he definitely did. He definitely did. Moving right along, though, we have 2 games coming up, Josh. And those 2 games, the first one is going to be at LSU on the 29th at 6 p.m. Central Time on the SEC Network. Honestly, dude, this is probably going to be a pretty good game, I think.
I think Auburn, it will be for sure.
Again, we said it all season long. Winning on the road in the SEC is just one of the hardest things you can do. It is seriously one of the hardest things you can do.
Yeah, I mean, unless your team is Tennessee and you give it your all inside of Neville. But LSU really is not one of the greatest SEC teams out there right now. But
they're not.
They're not going to be easy win. They went to Alabama last night and lost by 7. But then again, Alabama's Mark Sears was also having a very tough night and didn't even get to play really much in the second half. He got benched, and LSU was just giving Alabama everything they could handle. So I don't think they're going to be an easy out, but I definitely see us winning more than 7 points.
I hope so. And I mean, it had a lot to do with the way they were playing defense. They played great defense. But again, LSU, they're 12-7 on the season. What are they? They're 14th in the SEC. How many?
Yeah, 1-5
SEC? Let's see. They lost against Vandy, who is becoming a very tough team to play.
They're 1-5 in the SEC.
1-5. I'm just trying to figure out who they lost to. They've lost to Vandy, Missouri, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Alabama. All really good teams in this league right now. I don't know if there's a bad team in the league outside of South Carolina, but
they give us everything we can handle too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So this should be a crazy good game. They got one guy that's scoring 17 points a game. They're not putting up great numbers. Their points per game, 79. Scoring margin is +9. They're shooting 46% from the field. They're only taking about 8 threes. If they only take 8 threes against Auburn, Auburn should be able to win this one with how many threes.
Are you sure 8 threes? Because they shot 23 against Alabama.
It's saying 7.8 is their field goals made per game. Sorry, their threes made per game.
Okay,
and they're shooting 30%. So they're not great. So all year long they shoot 480 total threes, but so they're just not hitting a lot. They do turn the ball over quite a bit, almost 14 times a game.
Let's go.
They're getting 5 blocks a game. Johni Broome's averaging that, so that is something we shouldn't be worried about. Honestly, like you said, it should be we should be able to handle business against LSU. We really should.
Yes.
Then after the LSU game, we have the game against Ole Miss on the 1st to begin our slate of February games, which the month of February is going to be rough, man. I mean, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Florida, Vandy, Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia again, Ole Miss. That's a rough stretch right there, man. That is a rough stretch. And 1, 2, 3 of those games are away games. It's going to be
Give
a
me
rough
all
stretch.
of it.
But Ole Miss is one of those teams that right now is just they're good at home, and then they're not doing great on the road. At Mississippi State, they lost 84-81 versus Texas A&M. They lost 63-62. They're in every single game that they've lost. They lost to Memphis by 17 points. They lost to Purdue by 18 points. No, by 2 points, sorry. So this is that's a big difference. This is a team also that should be a very hard win. I think both of these games, LSU and Ole Miss, preseason predictions, we both had us winning these games.
Yes.
I think we're going to beat LSU, but it feels like Ole Miss is a game that we are probably going to lose.
I feel like this is going to be another Tennessee, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I really do, because Ole Miss, they're averaging over 10 steals a game, and they're only allowing 66 points a game. So I really do feel like this is going to be another Tennessee-esque matchup for Auburn on the road. I could see Auburn still pulling it out fairly comfortably. I don't think they're going to win by double digits, especially if Johni Broome is still on the mend. But unless we can get Johni Broome back to 100% before Oklahoma and Florida, and I could see us losing this one. But I don't think we're gonna really have to worry about losing against LSU or Ole Miss.
They have 5 players averaging double-digit points, and another player that's just under double digits with 9.5. But I think defensively, I think you hit the nail on the head, because they're averaging about 5 blocks a game, and which so many teams are averaging right around 4 or 5 blocks a game, and then you got Johni Broome out there averaging 4. It's ridiculous what this guy is and what it means for this team. Unbelievable.
First we had Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler, and now we have Johni and Dylan and Cheney.
Yeah. Cheney Johnson, man, he is. I predicted it before the season started how big of a deal he was going to have, and in Johni's absence, he has stepped it up.
And I really hope he takes advantage of that extra JUCO year the NCAA just passed.
Yeah, I definitely want to see him.
He takes advantage of that.
Auburn uniform.
Him and Chad.
Yeah, both of them. Oh, I'd love to see both of them. We need both of them back. So, Josh, all in all, it's going to be a tough stretch of games here. I personally think LSU is going to be a little tougher than you do. I think we should still win the game, but I think it's going to be a little tougher than you think it's going to be.
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, no, it happens. We're split on the decision about LSU. You think LSU is going to we're split on the Ole Miss game. You think Ole Miss is going to be a tough defensive game, but you still think that Auburn is going to pull out the W, right?
I do.
Yeah. And I for me, it feels like it's going to be a loss, and our first loss in the SEC. It's hard for me to bet against this team because of the way that they keep finding ways to win. That's all they're doing is winning. But at the same time, it's so hard to believe that there's not going to be somebody that knocks us down.
Until they give me a reason to pick against them, I'm going to pick Auburn. I'm just gonna.
That's fair, dude. That's fair. I just want to remind everybody once again, we are again partnered with Fanatics. Use our affiliate link below if you need some Auburn gear. We'll get a little bit of a kickback. I mean, I'm not going to be disappointed in that. Josh and I both have used Fanatics in the past, and both of us absolutely love the product that they deliver, as well as how quickly we are able to get it. So don't forget, use our affiliate link below if you're looking into getting some more Auburn gear. But Josh, we had one hell of a game against Tennessee. I don't know if we're going to see another game like that unless we play Tennessee again.
I can't handle it. I will die.
Yeah.
Amen, I will
brother.
die.
Amen. Both of us. With that, though, Josh, a win is a win is a win. In this conference,
Yes,
it's
sir.
War Damn Eagle.
War Damn Eagle.
Johnson goes and denies. Step back. Big play from
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go the tip by Broome.